बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। राधा रानी की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अहो वकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसवाया पाययदप्यसाध्वे लेभे गतिं धातृचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ध्वं देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की। आदरणीय पूजनीय पंडितगण, प्रिय सज्जनों, प्रिय भक्त समुदाय, महानुभाव, most worshipable Pandits, dearest devotees of the Supreme Lord, the Divine Souls. First, let me say Radhe Radhe to each and everyone, and my pranam, my humblest prostrations to all of you. Also to our viewers on Bhakti TV, very special Radhe Radhe and pranam. I want to thank Pandit Satyananda Maharaj from the Satya Ananda Ashram in Arangwez, the producer of Bhakti TV, for making this possible, that we can all see live, those who are viewing live on Bhakti TV as well as Facebook. We have our wonderful sponsors. We want to thank the sponsors, our sponsors for Bhakti TV. The Little Store Limited of Rapsi Street, Kirep, and their phone number 663-4415. And Sital Fabricating and Construction Limited of Felicity, and their phone number 6715126. I want to thank them very much that through their kind courtesy, so many souls can benefit. As customary, before we begin Katha, we'll do Bhagavad Sumiran. meditating on the Supreme Lord, singing the glories, meditating on the glories of Bhagavat, of Shri Krishna, who is Bhagavat Mahapuran, this personification of Shri Krishna. रिद्धि सिद्धि दाता सिद्धि सदन वादन वर सुमिरो मदन कदन के लाल को गणपति कृपा निधान ज्ञान खानी आनंद भवन देहु मोहि वरदान वर्णो भाषा भागवत जय शिव आनंद कंद भूतनाथ भव भय हरण भक्ति विषय निर्बंध गौरवरण मंगल कर हे ब्रज चंद मुकुंद ब्रजभूषण दूषण काटहु भव भय खंड चरण शरण जय 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 जगदीश सेवक शेष महेश महिमामृत वेद भेद जानत देहु ही वरदान राधा वरिय वर सदा प्रेम भरी मुस्कान निज चित में खटकाट है मोहि चाहिए कछु नहीं और वस्तु प्रभु जात की बसी रहे मन माही यह बाकी झाकी सदा लिए लकुटिया गायन के पीछे फिरत ग्वाल बाल ये मोर मुकुट शिर पर धरी कर मुरली उर्मा शीश मुकुट कटि पीठ पट या छवि सोनला बसहु हृदय मन निशि दिवस गुरुपद रज धर्षि गुरुपद रज धर्षि कहु भागवत की कथा जो शुकदेव मुनीश कवि सो परीक्षित अति निगम कल्पतरो गलितं फलम् सुखमुखाद्रवितत् सुखमुखाद्रवितत् संयुतम् पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम् मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुका। वो पेड़ है, the tree, the Vedas on the tree the tree there's a fruit, and the fruit has been made even more sweet by the beak of Shukadev Paramhans. That fruit only has ras, rasi ras. There's no seed, no skin, only ras. And that is Shrimat Bhagavat Mahapuran. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam shukhamukadambitat dravasayutam pibat bhagavatam rasmalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavika. बोले श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय, बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु महाराज की जय. This wonderful katha been related, of course, by Shukadev Paramhans to Parikshit. But this specific katha is been related by Naraji, that great Rishi Muni, Rishi Shiromani, himself being descension of Shri Krishna, counted among descension. Naraji is also Brahma. And he's relating this katha to Vasudeva, who had the great fortune of being the father of the Lord when he descended a little more than 5,000 years ago. The 9 Yogeshwars, Kavi, Hari, Antariksh, Prabudh, Pipalayan, Avirhotra, Drumil, Chamas, Karbhajan, 9 sons of Rishabh Bhagavan, Rishabdev, God among yogis, topmost among saints, visited the yagna of Videha Nimi, King Nimi, and been questioned by King Nimi. They are given answers which will help all of us. Questions that we also have as to how we can become free from Maya, how we can become free from that ignorance of not knowing who we are, how we can attain the knowledge of our true identity, what we are, who we are, the reality of the world, where we're going to find true happiness, why should we want to know Sri Krishna, etc. So we had finished 5 questions. Chhatve Prashna. We come into the 6th question of Videha Nimi. In the booklets we have. Please turn to page 25. Radhe Radhe Govinda Bhaj, Radhe Radhe Govinda,
Radhe Radhe Govinda.
O mind, chant the divine name of the Lord Radha and Krishna. They are the very storehouse of existence, bliss and knowledge, the personification. Radhe Radhe Govinda Bhaj, Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda. सत गण छित घन सुख कंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ सत घन चित घन सुख कंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ दो चकोर है दो है चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
दो चकोर है दो है चंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ भजु मन युगल चरण अरविंदा। O mind, meditate, worship the lotus feet of Shri Radha Krishna. भजु मन युगल चरण अरविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
भजु मन युगल चरण अरविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे 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 गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे
राधे गोविंदा। भजु राधे राधे गोविंदा।
कर्मयोगं वदन्नः पुरुषो येन संस्कृतः, विधूये हाशु कर्माणि नैष्कर्म्यं कियो परम्। कर्म विकर्मेति वेदवादो न लौकिकः, वेदस्य चेश्वरात्मावान् तत्र मुह्यन्ति सूरयः। राधे 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 गोविंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा, राधे
राधे गोविंदा। राधे राधे गोविंदा।
भजु भजु बेर न करु मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा। भजु
भजु बेर न करु मति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
Do not procrastinate when it comes to worshiping God. We are not guaranteed of the next moment. Taju chala chanda, give up all deception, all fraud. Then we'll be able to worship the Lord. Taju chal chanda, bhajumati manda, radhe radhe govinda. Taju chal chanda,
भजमति मंदा, राधे राधे गोविंदा।
O foolish mind, know that Hari Guru, God and the saint are one and the same. Don't ever see difference. Hari Guru manu ek mati manda, Radhe Radhe Govinda. Hari
Guru manu ek mati manda, Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Oh Radhe 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 Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Radhe Radhe Govinda, Radhe Radhe Govinda.
Parokshvado vedoyam balanamunushassanam, karma mokshaya karmani भिदते ह्यगदं यथा नाचरेर्यस्तु वेदोक्तं स्वयं ज्ञो जितेन्द्रियः विकर्मणा ह्यधर्मेण मृत्युर्मुपैति स। राधे 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 गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे
गोविंदा भज राधे राधे गोविंदा।
आत्मा की आत्मा मति मंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
आत्मा की आत्मा मति मंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
जो कृपालु है अतिमति मंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
जो कृपालु है अतिमति मंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे 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 गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे
राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे
गोविंदा।
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा। ओ राधे राधे
गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
ओ राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा
राधे राधे गोविंदा राधे राधे गोविंदा।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। So the sixth question, Videha Nimi is posing to the 9 Yogeshwars. Karma Yogam Badatah Nah Purusho Yena Sanskritah Vidhuye Hashu Karmani Naishkarmyam Bindate Param। अब उन्होंने पूछा कि हे गुरुदेव, गुरुओं में गुरु, ये जो कर्म योग है इसके बारे में सुना कि योग कर्म के द्वारा जो करते हैं तो ये पूरा अनंत कर्म जो हमने किया उसको इसका नाश करते हैं और अंत में भगवान को प्राप्त करते हैं। इसके थोड़ा पूर्वक समझा दीजिए। So now the question, I have heard about yoga and karma, the yoga of action. Doesn't understand what is karma yoga. Most people don't understand. To the performance of which one attains perfection. Please explain in detail. Sixth question, Avirhotra Maharaj is answering. वो कहते हैं कि वेद भगवान की वाणी है, भगवान की वाणी है, इसलिए ज्ञानियों से भी ज्ञानी ये 3 प्रकार के जो कर्म है इसको समझ नहीं आते। क्या है वो स्पष्ट समझ नहीं आते। He says the Vedas, and we've been saying this throughout, I've been telling you this, the Vedas are the revelation of God Himself. Vedas doesn't mean book. Just as God is divine, eternal, beginningless, Vedas are also eternal, beginningless. They're the very breath of the Supreme Lord. Nihaswasitamasya Vedaha. I told you Vedas are called Apaurusheya. Apaurusheya means no one has written Ved. They were not written by someone, some man, or delivered by an angel or prophet or special messenger of God, as were the scriptures of other religion. No book is meant. Vedas are eternal. Just as we take a breath, God took a breath and Vedas appeared. From beginningless time. Jaki sahaj shwas shruti chari. Everything about God is divine, so His breath is also divine. Vedas are divine. So the revelations of the Vedas, what Vedas are saying, even the most learned persons, they get confused. Vedas, for every word in the Vedas, you can give thousands of meaning. Thousands. What it actually means, someone who's attained God alone can know. Vedas put a condition. Acharyavan Purusho Hi Ved. There's a condition in Vedas. Vedas are saying, hey, human being, mankind, do not try to come to me by yourself. Go to the Acharya. Go to one who's attained God, Shri Krishna. Because Veda is Shri Krishna. Let him tell you what is in Vedas. It's written very beautiful here. Parokshavado Vedoyam Balana Manushasanam. Parokshavado Vedoyam. Parokshavad means that there's a deeper hidden meaning. On top it says something and what it means is something totally different. When we take material mind and intellect to understand divine works, we're going to give a material meaning. Only someone with a divine intellect, divine mind, can understand Ved. So it says very clearly, 11 Canto, 3rd chapter, 44th verse. Parokshavado Vedoyam Balana Manushasanam Karma mokshaya karmani vidhate hyagadam yatha. Very clear Bhagavat is saying, Ved is saying, Parokshavado. There's a deeper hidden, I've told you before. For example, many people have taken dictionary. Karl Marx and all these guys, they have taken dictionary and translated Vedas. And people, we read and we think this is what Vedas are saying. There's a lot of confusion. For example, at one place in Vedas, God is called Akash. Akash means sky, space. At one place, God is called Agni. Agni means fire. At one place, God is called Purush. Purush means man. At one place, God is called Devata. Devata means heavenly God, celestial being, Annamaya. At one place, the soul is called Vigyan. Vigyan means knowledge. So if we take a dictionary and try and translate, we'll make a big mess. And this is what has happened. That's why we have to go to the true saint. Someone who's trying to give the meaning of the Vedas, it says here, Bala. Bala na manushasanam is like a child trying to explain. A little child, you're trying to explain, he would not understand anything. And so, one who was of a material intellect, material mind, cannot understand what is in Vedas. यहां बताया कि जो वेद का जो लक्ष्य है, अंतिम लक्ष्य, इसको जो फल है भगवान के पास जाना, मतलब भगवत प्राप्ति, लेकिन इसके अलग बताते हैं, इसके विपरीत बताते हैं. The ultimate purpose, the real purpose of Vedas is for one to become free from all actions and the fruits of all actions, whereby we can attain God realization. Every Ved mantra is telling us that. But instead is given temptation to us. If you do this, you will get this. If you do that, you will go to heaven. If you do that, you will have children. In other words, it's given us, it's tempting us in the world. The real meaning is trying to take us to God, but it's given temptation. Now, why is doing that? So here it says, जैसे एक बच्चा को दवा देना, बहुत खड़ा है दवा, तो वो नहीं पिएंगे, तो उसके साथ मिठाई भी देते हैं. तो मिठाई के अंदर वो दवा डालते हैं ताकि वो खा सकते हैं. So here Avirhotra is saying, Bhagavat Mahapuran is saying, like an example is given here. A little child is being given medicine that is very bitter. The child will not drink the medicine. So what does the parent do? They take some sweet, mithai, and they put the medicine in there. And then they give the child, and then the child is able to take the medicine. In the same way, especially in this Kali Yuga, in the age we live, mostly people are very materialistic. They have no interest in God. Very little or no interest. Whether they are Hindus, whether they are Muslim, whether they are Christian, Buddhist, Jain. This is the age of Kali Yuga, materialism. Even people who pray to God, who seem to be very religious, they go to church, they go to the masjid, they go to mandir, they go to Dwara, everywhere, and they are seeming to be so spiritual. What are they praying for? The world. To get rid of some sickness, disease, to be able to get a better job, to get more money. They're praying for the world. So people have very little interest or no interest at all in God. So what the Vedas do and scriptures and other scriptures also, they give greed, temptation. Like putting the carrot before a horse. They give greed. That if you do this action, you will get this. If you do that, you will go heaven. If you do this, the same Vedas will tell, it goes on to say, the person who wants to go to heaven is the greatest fool. Pramudha. Ishta purtam mandamana varishtham nanyachreyo vedayanti pramudha nakasya pristete sukatena bhutimam lokam hitanam vavishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 10th mantra. The Vedas are saying the person who performs action with the desire to go to heaven, who wants to go to heaven, is not only an ordinary fool, but the greatest fool. Pramudha. And after going to heaven, if he does go, will be thrown into the lowest form of life afterwards. Hinatram bhavishanti. So, temptation is given in the form of heaven, in the form of things in the world. If you do this, you will get that. If you do that, you will get this. Temptation. The reason being that this world has to go on. In order that the world go on, in order that this world goes smoothly, that people respect their elders, etc., all of this is given. The ultimate reality is that we should want to know God, to go to God. But because people don't have that, the mind is not naturally inclined, and especially in Kali Yuga. Very few people have any interest. They think this, if somebody starts talking about God and love in God, people say, oh, he's crazy. That man is totally crazy. What is he talking about? If someone talks about, okay, do this kind of ritual and you will get this material thing, do this kind of ritual, this kind of yagna, and you will be able to pass your exam. Oh, wow. This is the man who knows what's in the scripture. And someone comes and says, no, there was nothing in the world. Do not love the world, love only God. Something is wrong with him, get rid of him. This is why, whenever saints have come in this world, Tulsidas, Surdas, Meera, Tukaram, Nanak, etc. What did the world do? Whenever saints, divine entities have come in the world, we curse, we criticize, we abused, beat them, poison. What we have not done. Look at history. Every saint. Because when the saint is going to come, he's going to say, hey, you are interpreting the scriptures wrong. This is not what the scripture is saying. What? Are you crazy? Because we take our material intellect and we give a material interpretation, not understanding that this is just temptation. If you tell someone who has no interest in God, but yeah, if you do this thing, if you do that, you will get money. If you do this, you will go to heaven. Oh, okay. Because the decision is there that I will find happiness in the world. That's why we keep running after the world. You tell me, any person we look at they look like they're spiritual. Oh, they're looking to see how much more money I can make. Yes, that it is seeming that they're doing spiritual work. But behind it, there's a selfish reason. Almost every spiritual institution today, the ultimate aim is how much money. I used to stay in a mandir when I just came from India. I won't call the name of this mandir. It was in New York City. And they will have meeting. And I will hear because I will stay in there. And they will bring out the account, the books, and then they will look at the yagnas and which personality came and how much profit they made. So if somebody came and they made more profit, we have to bring him again. He's costing a lot of money for us to bring. But look how much money he's getting for us. And this guy, two people came. And we end up having a loss because we had to give him dachina also. No. We're not going to do anything with him again. This is the truth. Somebody brings in a lot of money. We want him again and again. Again and again. It becomes a business. It's not a thing we're not looking to how is it going to uplift people. How is it going to uplift us spiritually, but how much money. Are bhaiya, open business instead. The whole thing has become a business. All this is written in the scriptures that this is going to happen in Kali Yuga. If you look, there's a beautiful katha, a whole section in the Ramayana called the Kali Yuga Mahima. And it tells you what happens in Kali Yuga. In Bhagavat Mahapuran, also in the 12th canto, it describes what happens in Kali Yuga. All the scriptures. And tells you these things will happen. People are so materialistic. We live in a very materialistic age. In ancient times, there was not so much materialism. We didn't have computer. We didn't even have TV. No TV, no phone, no electricity. Not even maybe Muruka. Water buffalo, donkey, horse, cart. Life was very simple. There was very little materialism, but spirituality was very high. Today, materialism is on the increase and spirituality is on the decrease. The more materialistic we get, the more we don't have time for God. A time will come in Kali Yuga that nobody is going to take God's name. Nobody will believe in God. All the scripture will disappear. People will create their own kind of thing based on science, there's a religion called Scientology in Hollywood, in America. Oh, big people, they follow that. All kind of crazy religions are being created. And people end up dying. They develop a cult. And this is what will happen in Kali Yuga. We've seen it. And worse is going to happen. God, science, today, who is Guruji? Guruji is, Google has become Guruji. People don't go to a spiritual master anymore to question, they go to Google. Google Guru. Whatever Google say, that is fact. People go on Facebook. They don't, all kind of conspiracies and all kinds of, that eventually they have to threaten these social media. They were put in so kind of some wrong information. And that people believe. Up to now people believe that they will not take vaccination, which would help so much. They don't believe there is something called COVID. They end up dying and still don't believe. All because of what they've read and heard in the social media. And many of us sitting here and all who are listening to this are thinking the same way. You read something, you heard something. People send me millions of things. I feel like just blocking them off sometimes. Because they got something from Facebook and they send it to me. All kind of craziness. I said to them over, Bhaiya, do not send me. Do not take up things. Do not believe these things. And some are very high people considered to be spiritual leaders and all kinds of craziness. And the nonsense they believe. And this is what happens. This is what happens. So that greed, so that the world will go. Otherwise, this world will finish in no time. No one will respect anyone, the elders, no one will respect the elders, the whole world will come to an end. So for the world to go smoothly, for this world to continue to exist, all this is put in the Vedas. But the real philosophy is there also. So the real meaning, the real purpose of Vedas is that we have to become free from actions and the fruits of the action. And ultimately, go to Bhagwan. Ab 3 karm bataya. So he says 3 kind of karm, action. The word karm is a big general term. Big general term. It means action, it also means dharma. It has many meanings, the word karma. Generally, there are 3 karma. Karma, vikarma, akarma. Here it says, karma, akarma, vikarma. Avirhot is saying in the very first verse, 11 canto, 3rd chapter, 43rd verse. Karma, akarma, vikarma. This is described in the Vedas, but how many people understand? What is karma? Let's take them one by one. Karma means mainly varna ashram dharma. There's something called varna ashram dharma. If I have to talk on this, it will take many, many days. Very big topic. Varna ashram. So 2 things, varna and ashram. Varna means categories in society. People belong to different categories. Mainly, according to Sanatan Dharma, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. We can say the teachers, the one who teaches us in society, who gives us knowledge, who teaches us, Brahman. Kshatriya, those who rule, who govern, Kshatriya. Vaishya, business, who do business, etc. And Shudra, those who perform manual labors. So we can say division of labor. These 3 I don't like using the word caste because it sounds very, people put all kind of meaning to this. It's very difficult to put the true meaning of a word from Sanskrit in English. Very difficult to bring the true meaning. English language is very, I think, one of the worst language. If you understand other languages, especially if you understand Hindi or Sanskrit, you will think, I don't want to speak this English language anymore. My Guruji once said, very jokingly, somebody asked him, do you know English? Can you speak in English? He said, no. He said, I know Sanskrit. Sanskrit is called Devvani. Devvani, language of God. He says, what is English? Rakshas Vani, Rakshas Bhasha, language of Rakshas. Of course, he's a divine saint. He knows everything, understands everything, but just joking. But Sanskrit is called the mother of all language is Sanskrit. That's where languages started. Shivji, Shankar Bhagwan, played his damaru. You see the little drum he has in his hand? Damaru. And as he played it, the letters came out. What is called Devanagari script. Letters came out, language came out. From that, damaru. So Varn, what a Brahmin is supposed to do, what a Kshatriya is supposed to do, what a Vaishya is supposed to do, what a Shudra is supposed to do. There are different rules. And ashram means stages of life. There are stages in life. Brahmacharya, Grihasthi, Vanaprasthi, Sannyas. So Brahmacharya means, people, of course, as I said again, we translate into English and we make a mess. Brahmacharya doesn't mean student. Brahmacharya means celibacy. Celibate. Bhishma Pitamaha was a Khanda Brahma. He took a vow that he will always remain a Brahmacharya. That he will never get married or anything. Akhanda Brahmacharya. So Brahmacharya means celibacy. One, not even in thought, desire, lust, these things should come in the mind. Of course, in Kali Yuga, impossible. Dharma is impossible in Kali Yuga. No one can practice. Little children, you go on the internet, all kind of foolishness. Little children. They're not even going to the internet. You go to school, your peers. I remember in my time there was no computer. But from your friends, the kind of things you would hear and get. You had no idea what they were talking about. But it's been pushed into you, full into you. Just an example. Let's suppose in this Kali Yuga we're supposed to live 100 years. 100 years. So till 25 years of age, long ago, when you were a student, you will go to Gurukul. You will go to the ashram of the Guru, Gurukul. And the Guru says, till you're 25 years, do not even look at the picture of a woman. That lust should not come. You should be totally celibate. At 25 years of age, the Guru says, okay, go and get married. Till 25 years of age, not even look at the picture of a woman and now get married. Yes, Grihastha ashram, householder. Get married, have children. Earn money. Become a householder. Grihastha means become a householder. So, okay, Guruji says, so you get married, you have children, you have house, cattle, field, etc. At the age of 50, Guru comes again. Hey, whose house is this? Mine, Guruji. Whose animals, cattle, etc. Mine. Whose bank balance? Mine. Whose children? Mine. Hey, nothing belongs to you. Nothing belongs to you. Leave the house, leave the bank balance, leave the children, leave everything. And you and the wife go in the forest. Vanaprasth. forest dwellers. Vanapras. Van means forest. Vanaprasthi. Leave the world. Now you tell me, which person in Kali Yuga brings such a person and they call himself Dharmatma? And he has all these things in the world. House, motor car, land, children, everything, bank balance. And he's going to leave everything at 50 years of age with the wife and go in the forest and dwell. Sleep on the ground. Eat roots and fruits. This is why in Kali Yuga there's no dharma. And we don't hear, it's written in very plain in the scriptures that you cannot do it. Not in this Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga Yoga na Jagya Jnana. It's very difficult. So you and the wife go in the forest, leave everything. At 75 years of age, the Guruji come again. Hey, who is this one? My husband. Who is that one? My wife. Hey, you're the soul, the Atma. Atma doesn't have husband and wife. You go that way, you go that way. Sannyas. Total detachment. And nowadays people start renewing vows when they're 75, 85. They get married again. Huh? And you're Dharma Atma. Where's the Dharma? So even the beginning is wrong. No, when you can't even practice brahmacharya, that's why everything else you can't do. That's why it's not recommended in this age. These things you can't do. No, you cannot do dharma, you cannot do jnana, you cannot do yoga, you do bhakti. Kagba Sundarji tells us in the Ramayana.
एही कलिकाल न साधन दूजा जोग नमक जप ताप उपवासा जय राम श्री राम जय जय कली युग जोग न जाग्य ज्ञान एक आधार राम गुण गाना जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय
This is a chaupais from the Ramayana. So many people read Ramayana. Do we understand what is in Ramayana? Ramayana, there's nothing less. Tusidasji says everything in my Ramayana is based on Upanishad, Ved. Everything is in our mind. But how to take it out? Kagba Sundarji, through the grace of Prabhu Shri Ram, saw uncountable Kali Yugas. And he is relating the Kali Yuga Mahima to Guruji Maharaj. And he says, Ehi Kalikal and Sadhana Duja. In the age of Kali Yuga, these things is extremely difficult, impossible to do. Very difficult. Nasadhana Duja. What? Yoga namakha japa tapa upavasa. Yoga. Ashtanga yoga. Not what we call yoga. Everybody's doing yoga today. No, that's not yoga. Yoga means yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Is yoga. One limb in that is called asan. What we see in the world today, that is what is called yoga. The correct word is yogasan. Physical exercise to keep the body fit. That's all it can do. But before asan, there's yam niyam. The gist of, lots of rules, the gist of it, complete control over the mind. Then do asana. How many of those yogi jis can have complete control over the mind? Huh? Impossible. Mak means havan, yagna. There's so much rules and regulations. Jap, telling the name of God on the bead. Tap, austerities. Upavas, fasting. Fasting doesn't only mean food, bhaiya. It doesn't only mean food. As I said, sometimes you're going to do a puja and the Panditji says you have to fast 21 days. That's how long it takes human beings that whatever we eat has to go through the system. The intestines are so long. That's why human beings were not made to eat meat. It rottens inside of you. It causes cancer, poison. Animals that eat meat, their intestines are very short. In 3 days it comes out. Lions, etc. They were made like that. Not human beings. But our heart, our mind is so dirty. We don't get it, we'll die. Panditji, can I just do fast 1 day, 3 days? And what fast? If I eat meat, etc., there's not eating meat, not drinking. That's what we call fasting. If I'm vegetarian, okay, I will not eat salt. I will eat sweet rice, I will eat fruits. Brat, upavas means no food. Not only that, it's not only physical, mental also. Mental. There should not greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust, etc. should not come in the mind. The moment any one of them come, your breath is broken. You're not fasting anymore. Understand the word upavas itself. Upavas. Vas means the thing we are going to, that object. In other words, God. Upa means close, get close. That which takes us close to God is called upavas. Now tell me, keeping away from food gets you close to Bhagavan? No, it means more than that. Kali Yuga Yoga na Jagya Jnana, again Kagbasundi. In the age of Kali Yuga, you cannot do yoga, you cannot do Gyan, Jagya, you cannot do Dharma. Then what to do? Eka Adhara Ram Gunagana. Wanting, chant the name of the Lord. Chant. Bhagavan knows that this is a Kali Yuga. That all these things are impossible for us in Kali Yuga. So out of His costless mercy, He says, okay, I make it very easy for you. Just chant my name. You will get everything. Krite yadhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makaihi dvapare paricharyayam kalau taddhari kirtanat. Shrimat Bhagavat Mahapuran, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 52nd verse. Bhagavat says, that which is attained, kriti yug means satyug. That which is attained through great difficulty in the age of satyug, by meditating on Sri Krishna. In the age of Treta Yuga, through yagna, sacrificial worship to Sri Krishna. In the age of Dwapar, through puja, ritualistic worship to Sri Krishna, is easily attained in the age of Kali Yuga just by chanting the name of the Lord. Kale dosha nidhera jannasti he ko mahan guna kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 51st verse. Bhagavat Mahapuran. Even though this Kali Yuga is told to be the worst of all ages, the storehouse of all ills and evils. Non-belief, atheism, evil, memory is very weak, age is very little, everything is very little. Yet, it has one redeeming factor not found in the other ages. In this age of Kali Yuga, one can become free from Maya and attain the ultimate aim of God realization simply by chanting the name of the Lord. All the scriptures. Ramayana is thousands of places. Kali Yuga keval naam adhara sumiri sumiri nara uttara upara. Many, many places. In the age of Kali Yuga, only one thing, chant the name of the Lord. Remembering Him, you can become free from Maya while chanting His name, etc. Many places. So karma means varnashram dharma. So you combine the both. So let's say Brahman, what a brahmacharya Brahman has to do, what a grihasti Brahman has to do, what a vanaprasthi Brahman has to do, what a sannyasi Brahman has to do. And same for all four. 80,000 mantras alone, karma kand. Ved has 100,000 mantras, 80,000 mantras, rules and regulations, karma kand, rites and rituals. And no one can do. And even if you do, if someone can fulfill the rules and regulation, you acquire something called punya. Punya. Which will determine which heaven you will go to and how long you will spend there. But when you go there, what happens? Shri Krishna tells us, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam taidham anupapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Chapter 9, verse 21, Gita. If you can fulfill the rules and regulations, impossible in Kali Yuga, but if somebody can do, you acquire something called punya, spiritual merits, which will take you to heaven. But when you go to heaven and you start enjoying the pleasures of heaven, what happens? Kshine punya. That punya starts destroying. And one day it's going to finish. And you'll be thrown out of heaven. And because karma has become zero, we have to start all over again. This is why the Vedas are saying, Hina taramba bishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second canto, 10th mantra, will be thrown into lower forms of life. Dog, cat, donkey, worm. This is why Bhagwan Sri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, in the Ramayana, he says, Ehi tan kar phal vishayana bhai, swargahu swalpa anta dukhdai. Hey, this human body which is so valuable, the devatas are praying and begging for it. Devadurlabh. Wasn't given to you to enjoy sensual pleasures, nor was it given to go to heaven, Swarg. Why? Because there was nothing there. Swargahu swalp. Swalp means non-existent. And the worst part, anta dukhdai. It ends in suffering. After you go to heaven, you're going to suffer. One day, as I mentioned, you will be a devata in heaven enjoying. Next day, you're a worm, grass. You're in the body of a grass, a tree, a worm. We don't understand. Unless you know philosophy, unless you know Ved, you won't understand what Bhagwan is saying. It'll just be word, katha, nice story. That's all. Else it's very difficult to understand. So that's all karma. So karma. Then vikarma. Vikarma means one does not follow the injunctions of the Vedas. So in karma, one follows all the injunctions of the Vedas, all the rules, regulations. And all you get is heaven from doing karma, nothing more, which is useless. We have attained uncountable times. Vikarma, one does not follow the injunctions of the Vedas and doesn't do bhakti also. Just his whole aim in life is to enjoy the senses. They are called charvak, these people. Yavat jivet sukham jivet rinam kritva ghitam pibet bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punara gamanam kutaha. They are also called atheists, non-believers in God. They don't believe in God. It says, beg, steal, borrow, drink ghee, do whatever you have to do to live life to the fullest. Because when you die, that's it. That's the end. They look upon the body as the soul itself. They don't. When the body finishes, when you die, that's it. That's the end. So while you're alive, enjoy, have a good time. A couple days ago, I saw a spiritual, who's supposed to be a spiritual person, very high spiritual person in Trinidad. He was in his motor car in Mosquito Creek, and he was given a message to people who follow him. And he was saying, you see this? Life finishes. So I'm telling you all, enjoy. Enjoy life. Do enjoy as best as you can because this is the end. I say, hey, Bhagwan, this is Charvak. And you are the leader. This is a nonsense. He doesn't believe, and how we expect those who are following? Blind leading the blind. Ved is saying, avidyaya mantare vartamana swayam dhira panditam manyamana janghanyamana pariyanti murha andhe nevaniyamana yathandha. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kand, 8th mantra. Those who read Ved, the scriptures, and do not understand the real purport of the meaning, they think that doing rites and rituals, performing austerities, performing dharma, etc., is the highest aim of the Vedas, and just to enjoy the senses. They are fools, murha. And those who believe in them and follow them, they are greater fools. And what it says in the end, andhe naiva niyamana yathandha. They are blind. Following such people is like blind leading the blind. Ved is saying, not me, quarrel with the Vedas. So those vikarmi who just think this world is to just enjoy and have a good time, enjoy the senses. They don't follow the injunction of the Vedas, nor do they do bhakti. They go to hell. Narak. So karma, vikarma, akarma. There's one called akarma. Akarma. This is all here. It's written here in Bhagavat. Karma, akarma, vikarma. As I told you, 11th canto, 3rd chapter. You can join, check it out, 43rd verse. The explanation I'm giving you is not all there. This is due to the grace of Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu. Nothing to do with me. He has given that knowledge. Akarma. Akarma means karma yoga. The word akarma means karma yoga. Teachings of the Gita. What the Gita teaches. What does the Gita teach? One line. One verse in the Gita, one line of that verse, whole Gita. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Chapter 8, verse 7, Gita. Just one line. Tasmat sarveshu, at all place, kaleshu, at all times, mamanusmara, attach your heart, your mind to God, lovingly remember Him, and yudhyacha. In Arjun's case, he was a kshatri. Do your duty of a kshatri. In other words, perform your duty. So duty is karma. Karma means duty. Remembering Lord God at all time, that is bhakti. So bhakti plus karma. Duty plus bhakti, that is karma yoga. And the result of that is God realization. Here it says, जो अपना कर्म करेंगे, जो वेद बताते हैं, लेकिन वो फल नहीं देखते हैं, वो सब भगवान को अर्पित करते हैं, वो और भगवान को हृदय में लगाते हैं, तो वो अंतिम गति को प्राप्त करते हैं. So here in this verse, 11 Canto, 3rd chapter, 46th verse. Avirhotra Maharaj says, one who performs actions as outlined in the Vedas, your duty, you perform your duty as prescribed, but without attachment for the fruit. Doesn't look that I'm going to get this, I'm going to do that, because he just performed the action with the mind attached to God, offering all actions, everything to God. This is what Shri Krishna tells us in Gita. Yat karoshya dashnasi yat juhosi dasyat yat tapasasi kaunteya tat kurushama darpanam. Chapter 9 verse 27 Gita. Every action, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, whatever austerity, whatever you do, whatever action you perform, offer it to God first. Offer everything to God. If we do that, our mind will become attached to God. This is a very powerful sadhana. If before you do any action, you offer it to God, then eventually every moment you will think about God. That's such a powerful sadhana. Before I eat something, Shri Krishna, you partake first, then I'm going to have this apple. Before I drink this water, Shri Krishna, you have it first, then I'm going to drink it. Before I eat the roti, Shri Krishna, you have it first, then I'm going to eat. Before I go to sleep, every action. Before I go to sleep, Shri Krishna, I'm going to sleep. If I sleep, my body will be healthy. I'll be able to serve you. So I offer my sleep to you too. Every action. There's no action you should not offer to Shri Krishna. In that way, if we do that, eventually, every moment we'll think about Shri Krishna. Sarvesh Kaleshu. Ma Manusmara. That will happen automatically. That person attains the ultimate aim of life, God realization. But there was one more karma. So I mentioned, here in Bhagavat, Avirhotra is mentioned in 3. Karma, by performing which, Vedic, according to the injunctions of the Vedas, without bhakti, of course, but just follows the injunction of the Vedas, the most he attains is heaven. Vikaram, he neither follows the injunction of the Vedas, nor does he do bhakti. Just tries to enjoy the world. That person goes to hell. And akarma, which is karma yoga, he performs his duty to the best of his ability. Can't really do it, but with the mind always attached to God. God knows only the mind, where our mind is. So you can make all the mistake in the karma, but because your mind is attached to God, God gives the fruit where the mind is. You will get the fruit of bhakti, God realization. So there's one more. It's called karma sannyas. Sannyas means total detachment. So there's no karma, there's no dharma, there's pure bhakti, pure bhakti. This is the highest. Brahma, when he was deluded by Shri Krishna, he tried to test Shri Krishna, stole all the cows and all the cowherd boys and hid them in a cave, not knowing that this was a supreme Lord. Thinking that he would start crying, Shri Krishna himself became all the cows and all the cowherd boys. For 1 year he stayed like that. No one missed anything. And Brahma finally saw, everywhere he saw Shri Krishna, he fell at the feet of Shri Krishna. And then he glorified. In 10th Canto, 14th chapter, beautiful, he glorified Shri Krishna. One of the verses he says, Jnane prayasa mudapasya namanta eva Jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam sthane sthita shrutigatam tanuvang manobhir ye prayasho jita pyasitaistilokhyam. Bhagavat Mahapuran, 10th Canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse. Brahma is saying to Shri Krishna, pure bhakti, unobstructed by jnana and karma. Pure bhakti. This is what Rup Goswami also says in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavitam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. To practice bhakti, beside the desire to love God selflessly, we have to give up all desires. Number one. Number two, bhakti has to be free from karma as well as gyan, the path of karma as well as the path of gyan. And thirdly, the mind has to be attached to Sri Krishna favorably at all times. So here also, Brahma is saying, Brahma to Sri Krishna, pure bhakti, unobstructed by desire for moksha, which is what you will attain through the path of Gyan, and Dharma, etc. Pure bhakti is the highest aim of the individual soul. There's no higher aim than pure bhakti. And that is called karma sannyas. This is all explained. So one who wishes to get rid of all the nuts of the heart, in verse 47, 11 Canto, 3rd chapter, 47 verse, जो सब घाट को खोल देना चाहिए और ये मैं और आपको निकालना है, मतलब माया को छोड़ देना, तो सिर्फ शुद्ध भक्ति, pure bhakti ही करना. One who wants to become free from all the nuts of the heart and mind, to be able to become free from the ego, the sense of mine and yours, then one should worship Sri Krishna. Just pure bhakti only. Karma sannyas. There's a beautiful pad, divine composition, written by Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripaluji Mahaprabhu. I want to sing this beautiful divine composition. A devotee saying, Hamare man. Don't look for each other, I'll tell you. Just listen for now. Hamare man bhai bhanu lali. A devotee saying, one who has a true yearning, longing for God, oh mine, he's saying to someone, I have fallen madly in love with Radharani. Radharani, remember I told you, Radharani is another form of Sri Krishna. Radharani is not the wife of Sri Krishna. The wife of Sri Krishna is Mahalakshmi, Rukmini. Radharani is the soul. Atma tu Radhika tasya. The Vedas say Radharani is the soul of Sri Krishna. She is actually Sri Krishna. Radhika Krishna Rupam cha Krishna Radha Sarupaka Sanak Sangita. The scripture says Radharani is the form of Sri Krishna is the form of Radharani. So a devotee is saying, I have fallen madly in love with that form of Sri Krishna known as Radha. Even Sri Krishna serves Radharani. He says, Radhaiva radhyate maya. Brahmanda Puran. I worship, I love only Radharani. I serve only Radharani. Shri Krishna is saying. A devotee is saying, I have fallen in love. Bhari guman divani dolati janat jag pagali. Having attained that divine love, when one falls in love with God, Radharani, Shri Krishna, any form of God, that person wanders about without any care. They have gone beyond all rules and regulation. So, with the feeling that only Radharani is mine, Shri Krishna is mine, they wander about without any care. People say, oh, pagal hai. They have these crazy people only, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Or they say something else. These crazy people. They call them crazy, they call them the Radhe, Radhe people, etc. Lok ved kulakani taji sab, loga kahe bitali. A devotee has gone beyond all rules and regulation, all the Vedas. Look, before attaining God realization, a devotee carries the Vedas on his head. In other words, he gives the highest respect to the Vedas. After attaining God realization, he can walk on that same way. In other words, he no longer has to follow any rules and regulations. He's gone beyond it. Even in the world, somebody is going to university. After he passes university, he attains his degree, nobody now comes and say, hey, how come you don't come and we don't have registration of you every day, your attendance, you don't come to university anymore. I passed, bhaiya, I'm finished. I don't have to take attendance anymore. So he goes beyond Vedic. There are family rules, there are all kinds of rules. He goes beyond all of that. And it seems as though he acts like a person without rules and regulations, a crazy person. Karma akarma vikarma adiko vipada aputali. So we spoke about karma, vikarma, akarma, right? So karma, virtue, vikarma, vice, and akarma, what is called karmyo, selfless action, one becomes automatically free from all of that. All of that. All that is resolved by itself. All the prohibitions. Because one now follows only karma sannyas. Karma sannyas, the highest. Radhe naam saras saras chakat amrita madhur dali. So tasting the divine, God sits in the name. Gaurang Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshastak, Naam naam kari bahudha nija sarva shaktis tartar pita niyamitah smarane nakala etadishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva dishamiha janina anuragah. Shikshastak. God, he's saying, oh Lord, hey Shri Krishna, hey Radharani, you have thousands and thousands of names. Nam Nam Mikari Bahuda. And you're so merciful, you have taken all your power and put in the name. Nija Sarva Shaktis. God is sitting in the name. Plus, you have made no rules when it comes to taking the name, whether you should face east, west, north, south, whether you should take a bath, where you should sit. No, anywhere. Anyhow. Etadishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi. My Lord, your mercies are to the extreme. But durdaivami dishamiha janina anuragaha. My durudaiv, my misfortune is also to the extreme in that I do not have attachment for taking your name. You see, we don't have the faith, the belief that God is sitting in the name. Otherwise, all you have to do is chant one name of God. And you will fall on unconscious with bliss. People chant, they do 16 wrongs of Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, and nothing, they are fallen asleep. People are chanting Radhe Radhe and nothing, they are fallen asleep. Because we don't have the faith, the belief that Radharani is sitting in the name, that Shri Krishna is sitting in the name. The day you taste that, the day you have that full belief and you taste it, because the name itself is the embodiment of divine love of Radharani. You'll become crazy in love, you'll fall on unconscious with bliss. Beharati nitya kripalu swamini sanga gahavara kunjagali. And having fallen in love with Radharani and attained Radharani like her Sakhi, I go walking with my Swamini. I go with her everywhere in the beautiful groves of Gahavaravan, which is very close to the palace of Radharani, called Shriju Mandir. The forest that is very close to that in Barsana is called Gahavaravan, where Radharani and her girlfriends, the gopis, used to perform pastimes with Shri Krishna, etc. We'll sing this beautiful bhajan, divine composition written by Jagat Guru Tam, Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu.
Bhai Bhanu Lali Hamare Man Bhai Bhanu Lali Hamare Man Hamare Man
Page 42, sorry, page 42, 40.
हरि गुमान दीवानी डोलती भरी गुमान दीवानी हरि गुमान दीवानी डोलती भरी गुमान दीवानी डोलती जानक जग पगली हमारे मन जानत जग पगली हमारे मन ओ हमारे मन हमारे मन भाई भानु लली हरि लोक वेद कुल पानी तजी सब लोक वेद लोक वेद कुल पानी तजी सब लोक वेद कुल पानी तजी सब ओ लोग कहे बिटली हमारे मन लोग कहे बिटली हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन ओ भाई भान लली हमारे मन भाई भानु लली हमारे मन कर्म अकर्म विकर्म आदि की कर्म विकर्म आदि की कर्म अकर्म विकर्म आदि की कर्म अकर्म विकर्म आदि की ओ विपदा आपुटली हमारे मन विपदा हमारे हमारे मन भाई भानु राधे नाम सरस रस चाखत राधे नाम सरस रस चाखत ओ राधे नाम सरस रस चाखत राधे नाम सरस रस चाखत ओ अमृत मधुर गली हमारे मन अमृत मधुर ओ हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन ओ भाई भानु गली हमारे मन भाई भानु गली विहरति नित कृपालु स्वामी संग 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 ओ गहवर कुंज गली हमारे मन गहवर कुंज गली हमारे मन ओ हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन ओ भाई भानु लली हमारे मन भाई ओ हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन हमारे मन भाई भानु लली हमारे मन भाई भानु बोल राधा रानी की जय वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. So devotees will bring the katha to an end here this evening. Shrimat Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Shrimat Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.